So thank you everybody for having me. My name is Kofi Opong and I run the charity Urban MBA, and we are known as the University for Street Entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. So I want to take you back to 1989, where hip hop and these two characters got me into a lot of trouble. That's Big Daddy Kane on the left and Salt and Pepper on the right. And they were having a concert at Brixton Academy. I was told by my African Ghanaian parents that I was not allowed to go, but I defied them. And I went to the concert and came back at 2 a.m. and I'd been locked out of the house. I then slept in the local park bench, and at 6 or 7 a.m. I went back home hoping to be let in, and I found 2 black bin liners of clothes, and that was me kicked out of house and home. Next slide, please. I slept in my friend's car for 3 nights, and I'd like to say the car that I was sleeping in was as pretty as that, but it was actually very rusty and was on bricks. And there was a running joke with my friends that it was the car from the Sweeney. So if you're young enough to remember that, it should bring your smile to your face, but that's where I spent most of my time. Next slide. Despite all of that, I loved football and it kept me on the straight and narrow. And one of the things I wanted to do was improve my performance. So I used to go up to the only JD Sports in London, and that was in Oxford Street, just to get a JD string bag for my football boots and still look cool despite being homeless. But I got obsessed with the trainers that were in there and the technologies that were coming out at the time. I used to spend 2 hours a time at JD. That actually paid off, and I ended up getting a Saturday job there, and I went on to become the flagship store manager. And then in 1998, I actually joined Nike as the football manager for Nike Town, and I went on to become the product manager and with a dotted line to marketing. The 2 characters you can see there are Nas and Arsene Wenger, and I must say, being homeless, I never thought I'd get to this level. So I always put them up as an example of what you can achieve despite your problems. Next slide. So Urban MBA's vision and mission, as I felt I was lucky in my time, was to create a world where no young person is lost or left aside. Our mission is to reach out to these young adults and provide them with the required experience and knowledge to transform them into successful entrepreneurs. Next slide. So we teach 12 weeks enterprise courses, 6 weeks enterprise courses, and 1-day workshops. And we've just started an educational disruptor, which is a 1-year leveling up course that will allow or to get higher education without the 40 to 60 or 70K debt associated with university. One of the things I also want to make very clear is that it's not about color. What we've found to be the common denominator is poverty, is why all people cannot access things like higher education, and we want to change that. So what is Urban MBA? Well, first and foremost, setting clear goals gives you a life plan, which is what I feel young people don't have at the moment. You need to understand business cycles, and we'll talk about that in a second some more. And if you can solve somebody's problem, you'll always make money, and that leads to entrepreneurship. Next slide. So our framework is blended learning style, where we use video footage as well to make sure that we can capture this next generation whose brain operate a lot faster than what we used to do and use multiple devices. We tell stories, and that's from my African heritage, and that's the best way to learn. They get given a life skill with every module and a vocational skill as well in terms of how to use it. We're looking to get great goals out of them, their confidence built up and presentation skills. And anybody who knows about stats will know that the only thing people fear more than death is actually presenting. So we can easily measure confidence, and we provide unlimited mentoring as well as accreditations from level 3 all the way to level 6. Next slide. One of the things we want to do is make sure that all our teachers have a real understanding of all the consumers, and we go as far back as baby boomers and how their mindsets are. We've currently highlighted Generation Z there who are just entering the workforce, and we know they have the cancel culture, so they're slightly different, and we teach all our teachers how to better engage with them. Next slide. So I mentioned to you earlier about business cycles, and I want to take you back to the internet and ask you, if you knew how big it was going to become and change people's lives and what it would do to society, would you have done something different at that time? Well, I feel that one of the biggest things and the uniqueness of Urban MBA is the fact that we talk about the next big technologies and make everybody think about how this will impact them and their business. As an example, artificial intelligence will cause a lot of problems with low-paid jobs as these robots start taking over. We've got things like 5G and 3D printing, and that is a big core of what Urban MBA does. Next slide. So here's some of our alumni, just to give you an example. We've had 400 people through the course. This is Victoria, who is an alumni and was on the course in 2014, and she recently won Future Food Stars from Gordon Ramsay and 150K towards her business. Next slide. We've got another one, St. Giovanni is the brand, and he was living in the hostel. We've given him 10 years worth of Urban MBA mentoring, and he's gone from zero to having a business that turns over 1 million in fashion at the moment. Next slide. And I've got here Famida Begum and the touching points that we had with her in 2012 when I became her mentor. I helped her get an apprenticeship. She then came back after she went to university and couldn't get a job and worked with us, and we connected her with other people. She now works for Teach First, and in 2022 is now a trustee for Urban MBA, and she's actually my boss now, which is quite interesting. Next slide. Can we move on to the next one? I'll come back to that later. So why are we here? We're here to ask you for the £6,000 to get a level 6 assessor for our 1-year pilot course that we are doing. That will allow us to get somebody to accredit all the course, and it's 5 hours per week, 20 hours per month, and that will lead to 240 hours in the year. And we need that because level 6 assessors do not grow on trees. It's easy to find a level 3, but it's not so easy to find a level 6. And that's what your funding will go towards, to help these people get a university level degree in 1 year, and a faster system, faster way to get out and out into the system and work. Next slide. So I just want to say thank you very much for your time and listening to what we have to say. We really are changing lives and would love your support to change even more. We've had 400 people through the course and want to quadruple that over the next 5 years. And your support will help that happen. Thank you again.